Good afternoon, students. Welcome all of you to this online teaching class. Today I'll discuss chapter 4 of the Flamingo book poem A Thing of Beauty, written by John Keats. So today is the introductory class of the text. I'll give you a brief introduction about the great poet John Keats. So this is the picture. John Keats, Romantic era, English literature. He has contributed a lot in the field of English literature. This is the John Keats. John Keats was a British romantic poet. He was born on October 95 in London. He lost both his parents at a very young age, and his father, a livery stables keeper, died when Keats was 8. His mother died of tuberculosis 6 years later. So this is the background of the poet, and this is the tuberculosis. This is the disease tuberculosis which affected his family, including himself also. We'll see the later part of his life how the sad demise of John Keats definitely left all the world in very much in sad tone. After his death, Keats' maternal grandmother appointed two London merchants, Richard Abbey and John Rowland Sandal, as guardians. Abbey, a prosperous tea broker, assumed the bulk of his responsibility, while Sandal played only a minor role. When John Keats was 15, Abbey withdrew him from his clerk school Enfield to apprentice with an apothecary surgeon and study medicine in London hospital. In 1816, Keats became a licensed apothecary, but he never practiced his professions, deciding instead to write poetry. Okay, so this is the background of John Keats. He was a surgeon by profession, but he quitted and became a writer in English literature. He spent the summer of 1818 on a walking tour in northern England and Scotland, returning home to care for his brother Tom, who suffered from same disease, tuberculosis. While nursing his brother, Keats met and fell in love with a woman named Fanny Brown. Then same autumn, Keats contracted with tuberculosis, same disease, and by the following February, he felt that death was already upon him. Okay, so this is the background of John Keats. Today we'll read a short poem of John Keats, famous poem, A Thing of Beauty. Okay, and continue with the John Keats. In July 1820, he published his third and best volume of poetry, Lamia Isabella, but by that time he had reached an advanced stage of his disease. He continued a correspondence with Fanny Brown, and when he could no longer bear to write her directly because of his falling death, her mother prevented him from getting married. Under his doctor's orders to seek a warm climate for the winter season, Keats went to Rome with his friend the painter Joseph Seban. He died there on Feb 23rd, 1821. So he was born in 1795 and died in 1821. Very short span of life, but has actually given and moved us with so many beautiful writings. At the age of 25 and was buried in the Protestant cemetery. Okay, at the age of only 25 he passed away and was buried in the Protestant cemetery. This is the introduction of John Keats. Next, move towards the background of the poem. A Thing of Beauty, the background of the poem. The poem is based on Greek legend in which Endymion, a handsome young shepherd and poet who lived in Mount Latmus, had a vision of Cynthia, the moon goddess. The enchanted youth resolved to seek her out and so wandered away through the forest and down under the sea. So, this is a natural poem. So, the background is also taken from the Greek legendary writing of the Endymion, where there was a handsome young man, shepherd, and a poet who lived on Mount Latmus and had a vision of the Cynthia. Who was Cynthia? The moon goddess. The enchanted youth resolved to seek her out and wandered everywhere through the forest and down under the sea. This is the background of the poem in which it has been taken. Next, I will discuss the theme of the poem. What is the theme of the poem? That beauty is a heavenly tonic like a drink, an endless fountain of the nectar. This beauty comes in a different forms, a tale, sometimes a poem, a play, a lovely object, nature of the heavenly bodies. It suits our spirits and gives us good health and sound sleep and mental peace, removes the sadness from our lives and gives an everlasting joy. So the thing of beauty is a joy forever. Famous quote of John Keats in this poem. Beauty is a heavenly like a drink which has that endless fountain of the nectar. The beauty comes at different forms, sometimes as a poem, sometimes as a play, sometimes as a lovely object and moves here and there and soothes our mind with peace and serenity. He removed the sadness from our lives and give us what? Everlasting joy. So this is the poem. Let me read the poem first. Okay. So tomorrow when I'll continue the class, that time I'll explain the poem in detail. What is the poem? A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into the nothingness, but will keep a bower quiet for us and a sleep full of sweet dreams, health and quiet breathing. Therefore, on every morrow are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth, spite of the despondence of the inhuman dearth of the noble natures, the gloomy days of all the unhealthy and over darkened ways made for our searching. Yes, in spite of all, some say away the pall from our dark spirit, such as the sun, the moon, trees old and young, sprouting a shady moon. For simple sheep and such are daffodils with the green world they live in, and clear rills that for themselves a cooling covered make against the hot season the mind that forest the break the reach with the sprinkling of a fair mask rose blooms, and such too is the grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead, all lovely tales that we have heard or read, an endless fountain of immortal drink pouring into us from the heavens drink. So this is the poem A Thing of Beauty. So today is the introductory class. So in this class, what we'll discuss that about the poet, theme, background and the summary. So tomorrow when I'll continue, that time I'll explain the poem. Okay. So let me continue. Now I will give a brief summary of the poem A Thing of Beauty, so that you will try to understand whatever the poem deals with. Okay. Next, see thing of beauty summary. A beautiful thing is a source of eternal joy. Its loveliness grows with the passage of time and its impact never fades away. So what is the lines are there? The beautiful thing is a source of eternal joy. Whatever beauty in this world is a source of eternal joy. Its loveliness grows with the passage of time and its impact never fades away. It is as soothing a cool shade. So beauty has been compared with so many beautiful things. It is soothing as cool as like a shade. So similic expression is given here. It is as soothing as cool as a shade. It never passes into nothingness. Okay, it never passes into see that nothingness, that it has everything, nothingness. It has never passed into nothingness. It gives us good health, sound sleep, mental peace, and it provides the beholder with a heaven of tranquility and solace. So it provides the beholder with that the tranquility and that solace, peace, satisfaction, all the positive aspects of nature definitely is a source of beauty, and beauty definitely a source of joy. Next, continue. Man and nature are inseparable, and it is the beauty of the nature that keeps us attached to the earth. And every morning, when we collect fresh, lovely flowers and prepare garlands, they refresh our moods and we forget our worries for a while. So that John Keats, while if you compare his life also, that is all that fever and trial and the tribulations that he had gone through, but even though all the problems and sorrows and the demise that he had already passed and that he had definitely accorded with his personal experience, in this poem he has never touched upon. Definitely in the poem we'll get so many negative aspects that John Keats has discussed. Said that all the negative aspects which are he said discussed are definitely temporary, and think of beauty is. So try to understand the poem, that it is what it is, that the thing of beauty is a joy forever, and all the positive aspects is definitely dependent on what we get from nature. They refresh our moods and we forget our worries for a while. John Keats continues to say that every person gets a bitter taste of suffering and grief, disease, disappointments, and misfortune. So, in the questions come, what are the negative aspects that John Keats had discussed? Definitely, what are the negative aspects that we pass in our real life? These are what? Sorrows, suffering, grief, disease, disappointments, and misfortune. Definitely give us the mental suffering. It is the beautiful things that remove the pall of the sadness from our lives and make us happy and hopeful. So these negative aspects, whatever discussed by the poet, is temporary, is not permanent. And what are permanent things? Definitely a source of joy. All beautiful things of nature are a boon for human beings. The sun, the moon, the trees, daffodils, simple sheep, clear streams, forest, ferns, mask rose, etc. Peace and happiness. So the question comes, mention the list of beauty in the poem. Beauty of the poem. List the I mention the list of negative aspects in this poem. So these are the negative and these are the all the positive. All these are beauty. What the sun and the moon and the trees and the daffodils, simple sea, clear streams, forest, ferns, mask rose. All these are definitely why? Because they provide us peace and happiness. And these things, sorrow, suffering, grief, disease, disappointments, misfortunes, all definitely what? Combines with what? Mental and physical suffering. Understood? So these are discussed in the poem. What are the positive and what are the negatives? In addition to these lovely objects of nature, there are plays and poems to lift our spirits also. The glorious achievements of mighty heroes and the magnificent rewards by the God on the day of the judgment for those mighty men, lovely tales of the olden days are endless source of the everlasting joy. So what are the everlasting joys? The glorious achievement of the mighty heroes. Who are the mighty heroes? Soldiers. The soldiers who sacrifice their life for our motherland, definitely they are the real heroes in our life. We should worship them rather that we worship other persons. We think that the Bollywood stars and the Tollywood stars and all the sports persons and other people we worship, definitely no harm about it. But who are the real heroes? Soldiers are the real heroes is given in here. What? The glorious achievement of the mighty heroes and the magnificent rewards of the god. The day of judgment for those mighty men, lovely tales of the olden days, all are endless source of everlasting joy. All the old past days, the judgment day when God will come and start judging ourselves on the basis of good and bad. The people who had sacrificed their life, the soldiers, definitely they should worship. All these people are endless source of everlasting joy. The poet feels that nothing can surpass the beauty of nature. Nothing can surpass. They are an elixirs of the life. They are like an endless fountain that pours what? An immortal drink from heaven into our hearts. So, beauty is a gift of God and it gives us joy forever. So, when the poet concludes the poem, he says that beauty is like a gift of God and gives us a joy forever. It is the elixir of the life, it is the endless fountain that pours an immortal drink from the heaven into our heart. So the poem, it deals with all the positive aspects of nature and they are definitely refreshing. They are what? Source of joy for ourselves. He has also discussed side by side some negative aspects of our life, like the despondency, like the frustrations, like the frets of the life. But all these are temporary, and one thing has the capacity to move all these are what? This is source of joy. That is beauty. That thing of beauty is a joy forever. Understood? So this is the poem all about whatever I have discussed today. What is poem deals with, the background of the poem. It's taken from that Greek, okay, romance, and the poem is deal about that. What it dealt about with the beauty that surrounds ourselves gives us joy. We also here in this lesson getting introduced with the great romantic poet of that romantic era, John Keats, whose span of life definitely short one, but marked with so many important tales and motivates us with different living things. So students, now I'll take your questions. Any doubt of this introductory class, ask me one by one. Then tomorrow I'll continue the poem and I'll discuss the poem in detail. Okay, the theme I'll discuss again. Any more question that let me tag first? Any more questions? The students who are being with me, you can ask questions related today's class. No, if the thing of beauty will come, the questions will be given separately, positive and negative. The positive only will write. If you will be given that mention the list of things which are negative, then we'll write the negative. Otherwise, you will write only the positive. Okay. It will be given clearly in the question paper, and they not given. It given separately. Then write separately. No need to write the negative aspects of the life. Theme I'll discuss. Any more questions that let me take, then I'll discuss one by one. If you have more questions, then you can ask me. Okay, the theme part I'll discuss. If other students being with me, then they can also ask question. Okay. Let me discuss the theme part. Let me discuss the theme part. Thing of beauty, a theme. What is the theme? Theme is, let's check one time. Beauty is a heavenly tonic drink, an endless fountain of nectar. This beauty comes in different forms. Sometimes a tale, like a story, sometimes a poem, sometimes as a play, and sometimes a lovely object of nature. Or the heavenly bodies. It soothes our spirits and gives us good health. sound sleep, mental peace, and it removes sadness from our lives and gives us everlasting joy. That means a thing of beauty is a joy forever. Whatever surround us, okay, our nature, all are definitely in that category. Which category? A thing of beauty. It soothes our body, our mind, and soul in such a way that even we are encircled with sadness, frustration of life, it removes the sadness clearly given. Even though you are surrounded by so many negative aspects of the life, the beauty, it means beauty has the capacity to remove sadness from our lives and gives an everlasting joy. So this is the theme that the power of beauty has been described beautifully in this poem. Understood? Any more question? It is the power of beauty. Thing of beauty. Okay? And that negative and positive you asked, question will be given separately, not given. If that long question will come, chances very rare. If will, then we'll discuss only the positive one. Negative will write one line and then write that the beauty has that capacity to remove the sadness from our lives, which gives an everlasting joy. Okay. If the other students being with me, ask me questions quickly so that I'll give the answer. Otherwise, I'll sum up today's class and tomorrow read the poem in the house properly. I'll discuss the poem in detail, line by line explanations with that poetic device. Okay, let me take 2 minutes time. So take your time, then I'll take your questions. Otherwise, I'll sum up today's class. Theme you write separately. It is a heavenly tonic and drink. Number 1. Number 2. It is a permanent joy of nature. Number 3, you can write it soothes our spirits and gives us the good health, sound sleep, and mental peace. Okay. Number 4, you can write that removes the sadness from our lives and gives an everlasting joy. And 5th, you can arrange that even though we are encircled with so many negative aspects of the life, okay, even though we are encircled with so many negative aspects of the life, beauty has the capacity to remove all the sadness from our lives and gives an everlasting joy. Okay, so thank you students for being with me for this introductory class. So tomorrow I'll discuss the poem in detail. Thank you for today's class. Have a nice day.